Hare Krishna. Welcome to our program. Our speaker of the day is Shriman Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. He has done his master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is also a member of ISKCON Examination Board and takes classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Vaishnav etiquettes. He has written elaborate workbooks on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, with which the students can dive into intricacies of these great scriptures. He is a compiler of many other educational booklets and magazines, thus helping the seekers of Bhagavad knowledge. In all, he is a living encyclopedia of scriptures preaching the science all over the world, and who is exemplary and lives whatever he preaches. Come, let's hear him and try to imbibe the essence of scriptures as presented by him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In the previous episode, we have seen how Chitraketu Maharaj met Lord Shiva once, and seeing Lord Shiva sitting with his wife Parvati on his lap in the midst of an assembly of sages, Chitraketu Maharaj became concerned and gave a feedback to Lord Shiva. He said, how can you sit, you are such an exalted personality, how can you sit with your wife so intimately in the midst of so many people? And ordinary people, if they see you, they may misunderstand you, they may criticize you, they may offend you. In that way, they may go to hell. So they will get affected. So to protect other people from offending you, you could restrain from this behavior, O Lord Shiva. So like that, Chitraketu, with a pure intention, with a proper respectful attitude, he commented on Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva's apparent behavior. But still he had a small tinge of pride, because Mother Parvati got affected by this. Parvati was so offended. Parvati felt, how can this Chitraketu comment on my husband Lord Shiva, who is so exalted? While Bhrigu, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Brahma, Narada and four Kumaras, Kapila, such great exalted personalities were keeping quiet when Lord Shiva is behaving like this, how can this Chitraketu comment? So he surpassed all these demigods, he surpassed all these sages. When very great personalities are there, when they are not expressing their opinions publicly about something, how can a very younger person very boldly come forward and express his opinion about the apparent misbehavior of an exalted person? So people, very exalted people, are not affected by their apparent conduct, which may be little different from the regular social customs, but they are not affected by it. But people who unnecessarily criticize them or offend them or comment upon them, they get offended. So one needs to be extremely careful while dealing with senior Vaishnavas. Here Chitraketu Maharaj, although he had some good intentions, still his comment on Lord Shiva was not very pleasant. It was not expected from him. And in fact, Acharyas explained that it was born out of a slight tinge of pride that he has. Because he was also a great devotee of Sankarshana, he somehow felt that I can give a feedback to Lord Shiva also. So one needs to be extremely careful while dealing with exalted personalities. Their apparent behavior, which may not align with the regular social customs, may not affect them, but by commenting on them, by criticizing them, we may get affected. So Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed to become a demon by Mother Parvati. So now let us see what is the response of Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu Maharaj got down from his airplane. He came in front of Mother Parvati. He folded his hands and he said, "My dear mother, I do not want any liberation or relief from this curse. I accept the curse that you have given me. The first thing that Chitraketu Maharaj did was, my dear mother, I accept the curse that you have given me. And he says that whatever happiness and distress that we receive is ordained by the higher powers. The demigods and the Supreme Lord are there to give us the results of our own past deeds. So whatever we acquire, whether it is happiness or distress or heaven or hell in this world, is a result of our own past deed, and it's ultimately an effect of material modes in this material world. So such things do not have any permanent effect. So I do not want any relief from this curse. I do not beg you to relieve me from this curse. He says, Samsara Chakra etasmin jantur ajnana mohitaha. This is called Samsara Chakra. Samsara is birth and death, the material existence that constitutes birth and death. Samsara Chakra, this is cycle of birth and death. So a person takes birth and he will grow for a while, and then he will die at one point, and after dying he again takes birth. So like that people will take birth, repeated births and repeated deaths, and this is called Samsara Chakra. In this Samsara Chakra, a jiva is transmigrating from one lifetime to another lifetime, one species to another species, one material planet to another material planet, one universe to another universe, experiencing so many material situations, all because of Ajnana. Jantur Ajnana Mohitaha. Because of being bewildered by illusion or ignorance, a person thinks oneself to be the body. In that bodily conception, the person develops so many material desires. With such material desires, a person will transmigrate from one body to another body. So, in this transmigration cycle, in this cycle of birth and death, whatever happiness or distress that we encounter in this world, they are all so temporary, so feeble. So, Chitraketu Maharaj spoke these wise words that I am not affected, I am not very much concerned that you have cursed me, but I am more concerned about this fact. You were affected. You thought that I disrespected your husband. You were offended. You felt bad. You became angry. My dear mother, may I clarify this thing to you? My dear mother, I do not have any disrespectful feelings towards your husband. Any chaste wife cannot tolerate any disrespect towards her husband. Mother Parvati is very chaste wife. And when her husband, Lord Shiva, is criticized and blasphemed, apparently, in the midst of so many people, she felt very bad. How can some person comment on my husband? She felt very bad. So Chitraketu Maharaj went in front of Mother Parvati and begged forgiveness. My dear mother, I did not mean anything wrong. But whatever you think is wrong, let that be wrong, and may I be forgiven for it. So with folded hands, he begged forgiveness. He was very apologetic. He said, sorry, I am really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to disrespect your husband. I only have respect for your husband. I worship him. I consider him a very exalted Vaishnava, and I follow in his footsteps. So there is absolutely no disrespectful feeling in my mind. So Chitraketu Maharaj never had any disrespect for Lord Shiva. He only had a concern that ordinary people should not misunderstand Lord Shiva. With that concern, he spoke it. Although his intention was pure, still Chitraketu Maharaj, with all good intentions, he spoke something which is very unpleasant. Now we need to understand, sometimes although our intentions are good, still we may do some things and those actions might trouble other people. With all good intentions, we may do some activity, and that activity could be very unpleasant and very unpalatable by people, and people cannot digest it, and we may get affected by their displeasure also in this world. And we cannot blame them. Although we have pure intentions, we cannot blame them, because all our actions that we do are instigated by our own consciousness, right? And if other people are perceiving it in a negative way, and if it is purely their mistake, they will experience the repercussions later. But if I maintain any grudge towards them, I will have to experience those repercussions. That's why Chitraketu found it wise that let me not blame Mother Parvati for my suffering. Although she has cursed me to become a demon, and that is a very disproportionate punishment considering the magnitude of my offense, still I accept the curse and I will not blame her. So this is the tolerance of a devotee. Chitraketu Maharaj said, Guna pravaha etasmin kashyapaha konvanugraha. He says, this is all guna pravaha. Whatever is happening in this material world is like pravaha, the flow or the current of gunas. Gunas means the three material modes: sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. This is the current of material modes. So whatever is happening, all the dualities in this world are like in the current of this material modes. Guna pravaha etasmin kashyapaha konvanugraha. In this current of material modes, in this flow of material modes, what is a curse, what is a blessing? Kim sukham dukhameva va. What is happiness, what is distress? Kaha svargo narakaha kova. What is heaven, what is hell? So hell and heaven, happiness and distress, curse and blessing, both are all these pairs are opposite in nature, but they are all one in one sense because they are all under the influence of material modes. Because the position in heaven or the position in hell, they are not permanent, they are not eternal, they are very temporary. The situation of happiness or the situation of distress, both are temporary. And the curse that we receive on a material plane or the blessing that we receive on a material plane, both are temporary. The effects of the curse or the effect of the blessing will not stay with us forever. They are there only for a short amount of time. They are guna pravaha. For example, a river is flowing. When the river is flowing, you can see ripples on the river. So sometimes some volume of water may come a little up and then go a little down, up, down, like this. Now you just focus on one point in the space, on the surface of the water. The volume of water that is there at one point on a flowing river will not stay there forever. That volume of water will just flow right within the next moment. It will just move forward. So, and sometimes the ripple may come up and it will not be remaining like that forever. It will go down. Ripple will come up, go down. The waves will come up and then go down. So similarly, the happiness and distress in this world are also like that. Happiness will come to a person and it will not stay with that person forever. That happiness will go to some other person and this person may get distress next time, or he may get another flavor of happiness or another flavor of distress. So no situation of happiness or no situation of distress are permanent. So we need to understand from Chitraketu's example that these temporary dualities have no eternal or permanent effect on our life. So Chitraketu Maharaj understood that now that I have received a curse, and the effects of this curse will not remain with me permanently. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says that Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha. All this happiness and distress that we receive, all the heat and cold that we experience are just products of sensory perception. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama payino nityaha tamsti tikshasva bharata. Agama apayino anityaha, whether it is heat or cold, whether it is happiness or distress, they come and they go. They do not have a permanent effect. Agama apayino anityaha, they are so temporary in nature. Tam stitikshasva bharata, a spiritual seeker or a devotee of the Supreme Lord is expected to tolerate them. He is not expected to get unduly affected by them. So Chitraketu Maharaj is demonstrating by his exemplary behavior that he was not affected by the curse of Mother Parvati. He did not take it so seriously. He was not devastated. Oh, what will happen to my position of being the king of Vidyadhara planet? What will happen to me? What will happen to my fame, my name? Suddenly I am cursed to become a demon. What kind of difficulties may arrive in that new life? I cannot handle it. So Chitraketu Maharaj was not bewildered at all, because this happiness and this distress are so temporary. Whatever happens in this material world is temporary, and that will definitely have some effect on us, but that cannot have a permanent or eternal effect. The effects of these curses or blessings will not stay with us forever. This understanding Chitraketu Maharaj has. Sometimes there is Sitoshna Sukha Dukkha. Sita is cold, Ushna is heat. So we make ourselves equipped with necessary paraphernalia to handle heat and cold. So whenever it is very cold, we may wear sweaters or mufflers or shawls to cover ourselves, to protect ourselves from cold. And whenever there is heat, we may use fans or AC or something else to protect us from that heat. So we make necessary and elaborate systematic arrangements to protect ourselves from heat and cold. But we should also make necessary arrangements to protect ourselves from happiness and distress. In this material world, happiness comes and distress also comes. And that happiness is also not permanent, distress is also not permanent. Both are so temporary, both are on a material plane. So, when there is a cause of happiness, one should not become so overexcited or so elated. And when there is distress, one should not become so depressed or devastated or discouraged or disheartened that he does not function properly. So this happiness and distress both are temporary. Only if we understand the temporary nature of happiness and distress in this world, we can actually traverse on this spiritual path properly. That's why Lord Krishna says, so we discussed the Shloka 2.14, second chapter 14th Shloka is Matra Sparshyastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha. Right in the next Shloka, Lord Krishna says, Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha. Oh Purusharshabha, oh best of all men. Oh Arjuna, I am going to reveal one secret. What is that secret? Samadukha sukham dhiram. A person who can maintain equanimity or equal vision towards material happiness and material distress. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram. So amritatvaya kalpate. Such a person is actually eligible for amritatva or liberation. A person who is so discouraged by distress, a person who is so overexcited or elated by happiness, such a person who is being oscillated in the midst of these dualities, they cannot actually get liberation. Liberation is the stage beyond the happiness and distress and dualities of this material world. If we are so over-affected by the happiness and distress in this material world, which are so temporary, we cannot transcend this material world. This material world is a place of dualities, and if we are affected by dualities, we need to be here. But if we are unaffected by dualities, if we can transcend ourselves from these dualities, if we are not so much influenced by the material happiness and distress which are temporary, that is the qualification for liberation. Amritattva means liberation or immortality. Mortal beings are affected by temporary happiness and temporary distress, but immortal beings are unaffected by temporary happiness and temporary distress which are on a material plane. They are spiritual seekers. They are seeking happiness on a spiritual plane. On a spiritual plane, there is no such duality. Although there are happiness and distress in the spiritual plane, which is a result of meeting with the Supreme Lord and getting separated from the Supreme Lord. Meeting and separation is there. So there also there is a kind of happiness and distress, so-called happiness and distress. But that is on a spiritual plane. So on a spiritual plane, whether it is meeting or separation, means happiness or so-called distress, they both are happiness only. They nourish the soul on a spiritual platform. On the material platform, although there is happiness and distress, both are distress only ultimately, because they are on a material platform. Whether it is happiness or distress or the pain of separation or the pleasure of meeting, if they are on material plane, they are temporary. So Chitraketu Maharaj understands all these wonderful facts. Chitraketu Maharaj was not affected when Mother Parvati cursed him. Chitraketu Maharaj says in that series of slokas that Chitraketu Maharaj speaks, Acharyas gives such wonderful examples. This material world is compared to a salt mine. In a salt mine, wherever you go, there is salt only. So in one corner you may scratch, you may get salt. In another corner, if you scratch, you may not get sugar. It may seem like sugar or it may seem like camphor, but it is all salt only. Similarly, some situation may seem to be happy in this material world, but ultimately it could lead to distress because it's ultimately on a material plane, it is so temporary. So Chitraketu Maharaj just said sorry to Mother Parvati. My dear Parvati, my dear mother, I am not affected, I am not influenced, and I am not discouraged or disheartened by the curse that you have given me. I do not blame you. And Chitraketu had absolutely no intention to counter curse Mother Parvati. I will curse her. She cursed me, I will curse her. He did not feel like that. And Chitraketu Maharaj did not even gather some sympathy from all the people around. There is Shiva sitting there. Shiva was quite, he understood what Chitraketu's intention was. And there were many other sages and exalted personalities there. Chitraketu Maharaj, when he said sorry to Mother Parvati, he was not at all in a mood to gather sympathy from other people. He was just apologetic to Mother Parvati because Parvati felt that this Chitraketu offended my husband. She felt bad. So Chitraketu felt that it is my responsibility to appease, to satisfy, to console, to pacify Mother Parvati. So she is affected by my misbehavior, and she considered my behavior to be very inappropriate. May I go and fall at her feet and apologize. Chitraketu was not considering what injustice has been done to him. He was only considering what kind of hurt he has caused to the heart of Mother Parvati. A devotee does not think, does not consider what exactly happens to him, whether it is happiness or distress or justice, injustice. He is more concerned about the feelings and emotions of other Vaishnavas. Another Vaishnavi, Mother Parvati, is affected by this. So let me not justify what I am doing. Let me just go and clarify to her my intentions, and let me just beg forgiveness from her because she is affected by me. And Chitraketu continues to speak so many things, and later Mother Parvati feels very ashamed of what she has done, and later Lord Shiva also gives some feedback to Mother Parvati, and he speaks about the glorious mood and deeds of Vaishnavas. And also in the next episode we will see all these things, and in the next episode we also let us compare the consciousness of Chitraketu Maharaj with the consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj. Once Parikshit Maharaj was also cursed to die within 7 days. Here Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed to become a demon. Both of them received the curses in a proper consciousness. Both of them were very sensitive towards the feelings of other Vaishnavas. We will discuss more on the subject matters in the next episode. Hare Krishna.
For more such devotional programs, please watch Hare Krishna television. To get this channel, please contact your cable or DTH operator. For more information, please call 8767 845 845.